he was in the military, I feel like he was always gone for Thanksgiving. So I love it. Always. Always. That was always the holiday that he worked on. Ow! Was Thanksgiving. Luckily back then, and still actually now, we have Verizon Wireless, so it was super easy to connect on the phone with Justin when he would miss all of those holidays, because it's not the same obviously when they're not there, but having that good connection and being able to talk was so important. I remember a lot of his coworkers would have terrible service and actually have to borrow our phone to call family members because the service was so good and so much better. But it's so important to us to be able to have that good connection. That's why we're so excited to partner with Verizon today, because of the way that they have partnered with the military community. Verizon is actually one of the top 10 military friendly companies. They partner with the Wounded Warrior Project year after year. They offer military careers and they have amazing offers for military. I remember we used some of them when Justin was deployed. You can mix and match and save with plans starting at just $30 a line. You can also get $200 off select Samsung phones and get $75 in-game content for the game World of Warships. The thing I loved most about them when Justin was deployed was their deployment suspension as well as their Verizon Up rewards. They even waive deposits for military members. I just love that they give more to those that give the most. I will leave more information in the description box below if you guys want to go check out Verizon, but we honestly have been using them since before we got married. I've had them since I used to live with my mom. Their service is amazing and I love that they love the military.
And welcome everyone. This is the YouTube live version of today's Verizon Salutes chat for the military. I am so thrilled to be welcoming three incredible panelists who are going to share with us a little bit about life in the military and also the many ways in which they stay connected. What are some of the ways that they rely on technology and sort of manage deployments and consistent moves around the country to serve our country. So first and foremost, this is a way for us to honor the servicemen and women of the military, as well as their families who make their service possible. Today's chat is sponsored by Verizon, and we are thrilled to partner with them because there are so many ways in which they actually walk the walk of supporting the military in our country. For one thing, they're voted consistently as the #1 military-friendly company. They're one of the top 10 employers in the country. Over 10,000 veterans are employed. And we're going to speak a little bit more about some of the other things that, that they do to support our service members and their families. So today's panelists are, first of all, amazing women. They have served, many of them. They support their spouses. And they are also military influencers. And that means that they create content to help other families adjust to military life. They speak about some of the wonderful things that they do to stay connected with their spouses. Their content is incredible, and we're going to showcase some of that. So Marty, if you wouldn't mind bringing up our three panelists today, they include these three beauties. Jess Baker, coming in from San Diego. Hey, Jess.
Hello.
We have Morgan Morris. You're in Virginia Beach, right? Virginia. And Lizanne Lightfoot, seasoned spouse. And I always thought of you as being based in San Diego, but you recently moved to Gulfport, Mississippi, right?
I did.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. We're going to bring you in one by one and ask a couple of questions. And before we get started, we are going to ask all of you watching to please make sure you subscribe. The Explain channel is set up so that we can speak about multiple things and help clarify how technology works often, but also to showcase moments like this where we want to honor the families and the service members of the U.S. military. So be sure to click subscribe. And one more thing we're going to do is we're going to give away a $250 Amazon gift card. These are randomly selected, and somebody's going to be winning that towards the end of the show today. So stay tuned. Feel free to comment and ask any questions. We will aim to get to all of them. And in particular, be sure to click verizon.com/military if you want more information about their services and all of the things that Verizon does to support the military. So I'm going to bring in Morgan. There you are. Hey.
It's so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have quite an incredibly interesting bio. You were at some point Miss Oklahoma. It's a little bit intimidating, I'll have to say.
It was like a decade ago.
Oh, well, the beauty remains inside and out. So grateful to have you here today. I know that you also have a business degree in communication, and you're a freelance writer, and before COVID, a world traveler, I guess. I bet you can't wait to get back to that.
Before kids and COVID.
Morgan's handle is at Mrs. Morgan Morris on Instagram, and you can join her feed there and check out her amazing content. So, yeah. Morgan, welcome. I actually have a couple of questions for you to share with the audience. And the first one was, when you celebrate milestones and, you want to connect with loved ones, sort of what are some of the ways in which you did that while your husband was deployed? I know he's been deployed a couple of times, correct?
Well, no, actually. And my husband hasn't been deployed recently, but we did go through something a short time ago that felt a lot like a deployment. And so I'll speak on that. To keep a really long story short, he was finishing a new qualification in Louisiana. And that's right when COVID-19 kicked off. His base shut down, his training was frozen, and that left me in another state with the kids for 5 whole months.
Oh,
that was back in March. And so that's kind of what I'm going to speak on, because he unfortunately had to miss our son's first birthday. And a few years ago, he had to also miss our daughter's first birthday. So on that note, I think the most valuable thing for us had to have been FaceTime. Because he was stateside still, thankfully for us, we could do a lot of voice calls, a lot of videos, a lot of texts. I think for me, it's just regularly sending him those videos of the kids playing, or, figuring out a way to just make him feel like he was a part of our family still, and that he was here and not missing all of those big milestones.
Yeah, so important. And that's, when you see how technology can make a difference. If, many of the moments you can schedule, but many of them you can't, right? They're impromptus.
Absolutely. Which brings up another really great app that we love. It's called Marco Polo. What's great about it is you can send a video message, receive a video message at any time. And so it's kind of like a walkie-talkie. So you can use it for time differences. So it's great for overseas too. If you have way different time zones, or if you're just really busy and have different schedules, Marco Polo is awesome for that too.
That's great. That's a really good tip. So there you go, everyone. And that's good for all of us too. If you have friends and family overseas, often you'll get a wake-up call for, I don't know, somebody who stumbled on a nice gift. So
Marco Polo, great international app, because you can text and call internationally. I'd love to know in the chat too if there are some apps that you guys use that you love.
Yeah, this is true. Tell me a little bit about sort of your own work-life balance. I know many of the other spouses in the area where you're based, maybe, some of them might be new. So what are some of the things that you would recommend as far as balancing life, your work as a creative influencer? What is your advice?
That is such a great question. Wow. I think balance is something that we all struggle to attain. And I think it's an everyday process of learning, and a lot of give and take and trial and error to figure out what works for you personally. I think for our family, my husband's job asks so much of him that I really have to be a bit rigid in setting aside a time that is mine. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And I think we can all really relate to that. We're all busy. We all have so much on our plate that if we're not really intentional in creating that time, we're not just going to have it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Make time for yourself. Really, really important. Even if it's 10 minutes a day. Sometimes it's in the shower, right?
And not being afraid to ask. Just recently, I felt myself really longing to get more into my writing. It's really challenging being at home with the kids, of course, again, trying to map out that time. And so I'm having someone come over now and watch the kids for a couple hours so that I can designate that time to write. And it's been so life-giving to do something that I love and that is refueling me. Because I think as a mom, as a military spouse, there's a lot of pouring in, but we also have to remember we need to recharge too.
Yeah, this is true. Such a positive note. I'm going to show one clip. I'm going to bring out our second panelist, and then I'm going to get back to you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
So November is Military Family Month, and Verizon reached out to me to partner. So this is very exciting because this is our first YouTube partnership, but I was very excited to partner with them because they're a very military friendly company. They do a lot for the military, especially they work with the Wounded Warrior Project. And yeah, we've always had super reliable service. That's a very important thing to us because not only are we moving around every couple years, but Drew goes TDY often. He hasn't gone TDY very much since the coronavirus happened, but usually he will go TDY. You were going like once a month,
about
right?
Once a month, yeah. Well, and then there's other trainings, so I went back to Mississippi, went down to Texas. Was supposed to go to Nashville this year.
Yeah, so he's been bouncing all over the place, but I never have to worry about getting a hold of him because he always has excellent cell phone service.
We had another cell phone company before we joined the military, but
Yeah.
that cell phone company didn't have any service where we were stationed.
Yeah.
So we made the switch to Verizon and then never looked back.
And another reason why we love Verizon is because they're super affordable and they have plans starting at $30 a line for active duty members and veterans.
Thank you so much. That was a clip from Emily in our team for this program. Thank you so much, Emily. And we have Jess Baker.
Hi, how are you?
This feels a little bit like a reunion. We had a wonderful summit last year in San Francisco.
Yes.
I know you were there. And it was so great to learn so many of the things that you guys all do. Not a lot of spare time, but you were certainly very creative. And so tell us a little bit about you. I was going to introduce you, but then I thought it's much better if you tell us about you because people want to hear you.
Oh, sure. I would love to. So I am a new mom of now 4. I have a little 3-month-old and 3 younger kids who keep me on my toes constantly. Also a Navy wife here in San Diego. Before San Diego, we were living in Bahrain for 2 years, which hands down was probably one of the coolest experiences ever. Before that, we were in Oklahoma and DC. So I'm originally from Texas. I love to shoot photography in my spare time. It's my job. But also I get most of my creative outlet from being on social media and blogging and sharing as much as I can there. So that is, yeah, that's me.
Well, it's very good. I realize there is that benefit, right, of seeing the world.
Oh my gosh, yes.
When you're traveling around for the military. So Navy, that's super exciting. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, we talked a little bit about deployments and sort of how you manage life during those times. So if you can speak to that a little bit. I know many of the people watching may be new military spouses that can learn from you as well.
I experienced my first deployment. I think it was we had just gotten married and I was just thrown to the wolves in DC. I had nobody. And that was probably one of the harder deployments I experienced, just being completely alone and by myself. So at the time, there weren't a whole lot of cool apps and stuff like that as far as like technology that we have now. So for me, we relied heavily on our internet and staying in touch through email, which I'd send an email and I wouldn't hear back from them until the next day. So it was such a delay, and like you don't get to hear from them at all, especially when they're underway. So for me, that first deployment was so hard, and I had to get out and I had to go make friends, and I was constantly on the phone with my parents and my sister. Well, actually not my sister, because we're 9 years apart. And so we didn't start connecting until like she was out of high school. So I had to grow up. Like I was 19, 20 when I experienced that. So I moved straight out of my house, with my family, and was by myself. So staying connected was FaceTime I think it was Skype. That was what we had. And that was it. And so I had to have a network that I could rely on to stay in touch constantly. And as far as my second deployment, that was so much easier. I got smart and I moved home. I had a baby, and that deployment lasted forever. I mean, they extended it and extended it and extended it. And so it was definitely so helpful to be back home with my family, helping me out as a new mom. Luckily, I haven't had to endure a long deployment with all of my children. Now, they've been really short, and we've only experienced a couple of months at a time, maybe 3 months, which is doable for me.
Yeah, that's right.
Or a couple of weeks.
What are some of the ideas that you would have for other spouses and family for care packages during deployment? What are some of the best things to send out? I know not everything goes, right? It's not just going creative.
As for my husband, he's a foodie, so he likes all those comfort foods from home. So packing all sorts of like home snacks. For him, it's hot Cheetos. All of those comfort foods that make them feel like they're back home for just a second. So when they open it up, it's just all of those amazing things. Little handwritten notes from the kids are good.
That's cool.
Yeah, just stuff that remind them of home. Little things. Yeah.
That's so good. And your top app that you would recommend?
Oh, mine is hands down just FaceTime. I don't even think anybody makes actual phone calls anymore, because we're just so disconnected. We just immediately FaceTime. Let's FaceTime. I don't remember the last time I had like an actual cell phone conversation, because I'm always FaceTiming anybody and everybody.
Yeah, that's good. I see on the chat someone saying that their son wanted things like socks and Band-Aids and
socks are a huge thing. I think they go through socks like crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So stay tuned. We're going to come right back. One of the things that I wanted to do is highlight some of the things that Verizon has done to support the military. Again, you can find all these resources at verizon.com/military. But one of the things that kind of caught my eye is the work they've done with for veterans and for healthcare. And there's a video that I wanted to show just briefly, Marty, if you can cue that.
The trip to the VA, it was an all-day event. Telehealth has brought me closer to my medical team.
Verizon has partnered with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to connect veterans to VA Video Connect for free.
The quality of his life has changed immensely.
VA Video Connect takes care of veterans. Verizon takes care of the cost.
It is one of the best tools in my toolbox for healthcare.
Thanks so much, and welcome to Lizanne. How are you? Oh, I can't hear that. I can't hear that audio. Is it something in your settings, perhaps?
I don't know.
Oh, there you are. Yep, you're back. So,
I'm really happy to be here.
Excellent. Now, you give us a little bit of your background. Fascinating story. You have 5 children to start with. That's a marathon right there.
It's something.
Tell us a little bit about you, where you were born, just some of the places you have lived, perhaps, so we can live vicariously through you.
Well, it is a long list. I did not grow up military, so I stayed in the same house in Pennsylvania for the first 20 years of my life, and then we've moved every 3 to 4 years since then. So we have been in Quantico, Virginia, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. We went overseas to Rota, Spain. We had 2 different tours in California, so that was Camp Pendleton and San Diego. And now we are here in Gulfport, Mississippi. So I've been married to my Marine for 13 years, but we dated for a super long time. And part of that was because of all his deployments and his duty station changes. So we are now reaching the end of his 20-year career, and I've been with him as a girlfriend, fiance, or wife through the whole time.
Wow, amazing. One of the things that we talk about a lot is how you as male spouses, I kind of always love that term, use technology to stay connected. And you have a great story about relying on your smartphone for a pretty unique experience between you and your husband.
I do, and I will share that. During one of my husband's deployments to Afghanistan, he has done 7 deployments total, but this was number 5. And I was delivering our 3rd baby. So, of course, he was, unable to participate or be involved, but he did get permission from his unit to sit in the comm tent during the day so that he could be appraised to updates. We weren't able to do any video chat at the time. So I was in the hospital with my phone, and the only connection I had to him was through Google Hangouts. At the time, we were able to basically text through that app. And I remember sitting there texting him, getting ready to push. And the next thing he received through the app was a picture of our newborn son.
That's cute. So cute. So yeah, I wanted to ask you one of the same questions. So you probably, I know for a fact, because speaking with some of your community, I know that you're very active in helping new spouses, men and women, sort of get adjusted to military life, whether they're on base or not. And so one question for you was, what are some of your top nuggets of advice that you give new spouses as they enter military life?
Wow, trying to pick one nugget. It definitely requires a lot of patience and flexibility. I was kind of chuckling because I heard the other wives talking about some of that delay in communication. And for our earlier deployments, we didn't have any phones or any technology when he was first in Iraq. So it was actual letter writing. And I'm not that old. This is modern times that, you're waiting a month to receive a response to a letter. And he had to make phone calls on a satellite phone, which took hours of walking. So definitely that patience and flexibility and, being able to adapt to difficult situations. We have never been able to predict some of the challenges that the military has thrown our way. So I always encourage people to build up their support network, find those people and those resources and those things that you're going to need to lean on. Do your research ahead of time so that you have them at your fingertips and available when those difficulties come.
Mm-hmm. That's very good advice. Tell me just how, when he's been deployed, what are some of the ways in which you've stayed close? What are your care packages like? Are they the same? Foodie? Comfort food?
Yeah, my care packages are not fancy because with all the kids clinging on to me, we're just lucky that we get to the post office and drop them off. So I'm not one that does the decorating and the arts and crafts. But we do usually send at least one a month, sometimes more for holidays. Always try and celebrate those special moments, birthday and anniversary and any unique event. So yes, he loves his snacks and food. I actually send little entertaining games like card games or just something simple that he can pick up and play with a couple of the other guys. He's Marine infantry, so they are sitting out in the field a lot of time, and they definitely have some downtime that they need to be entertained. So anything simple that can kind of distract them and make their day and make them smile, that's a great thing to put in a package. Great. Yeah, that's such good advice. And, anytime you get a care package, obviously must be such a great feeling, from home, that they must feel. For sure. So before I forget, if any of you watching are interested in checking out the Verizon military plan, please be sure to go to verizon.com/military. And also, as you dig down, you can see categories on that page, including careers, which is one of the things that we explored quite a bit during the summit. And amazingly, understanding all of the things that Verizon does as far as employment, including actually employing over 10,000 vets in the company and providing gap pay when someone has to serve. So explore that page. I encourage all of you to take a quick look. It actually has a category called careers. So Lizanne, let me ask you one more question, just generally. Sure. You talked about the advice. What are some of the tech gifts that you're thinking for this year? Perhaps for one thing I love and I recommend to people, especially when they're preparing for deployment, is to get a smartwatch that connects to your phone, because there's different options out there. You can get the really fancy ones where you can answer on the watch, and then some of them it just alerts you to a call. But I missed so many phone calls, and during some of those deployments when he only got one call a week or once a month, you do not want to miss that call. You want it to wake you up in the middle of the night. You want to be available even if you're changing a diaper or in the middle of something, that you're able to answer the phone. So having it right on your wrist is really a blessing. Yeah, that's such a great advice. I find that too with smartwatch. You tend not to miss anything, and you can also control if you want to get all the notifications. But some of the priority contacts calls, you're right, you don't want to miss those. Well, that's great advice. I actually wanted to remind everyone we're going to give away a $250 Amazon gift card, which, yes, should be a great thing for holidays. And anyway, you can buy whatever you want. And I want to thank all of the content that was provided by our panelists, but also by some of the people in our team, including Rachel at the beginning, Emily. And we are going to play Haley just before we announce the winner and bring all of our panelists together for a send-off. This is Haley from Brew Crew.
Basically, we rely heavily on our cell phones. We rely heavily on having cell phone coverage so that we know we don't get lost in the mountains with our kids. So we want to make sure that we have great internet. And given the fact that Verizon is one of the top recommended cell phone companies on this island, anytime we're in a Facebook group, if people are asking what's the best coverage on island, you will always see people recommend Verizon. And that is why we are so excited to partner with them this year. Not only do they offer awesome devices that allow us to easily vlog and share with our family, but they have the best coverage on island. They also offer amazing deals for military members and veterans. You can get rate plans as low as $30 per line when you mix and match. And they're also rated the #1 military-friendly company for the 3rd time in a row. Other awards that they have received is they are a top employer for veterans to work as well as military spouses. I know for me, moving around a lot, it's really awesome when you hear of companies who are supportive and encouraging to military spouses.
One thing I liked about the coverage, so when I was on the ship and I was inside, I couldn't get very much signals, but whenever we pulled into the port, I'd always, take my phone off airplane mode, and I'd get this just a ton of text messages and videos from Haley of the kids, and it definitely would bring me a lot of happiness, and it was just something that was really I could look forward to, is wherever I pulled into, I was able to get that coverage and that access to the internet. So, and getting all those messages and videos that my wife sent me. So, yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Brew Crew. She's actually in Hawaii and is one of our team members as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. We appreciate your attendance, your questions. We will go back and check some of those that need some answers if you haven't gotten. Please feel free to follow our panel. We're going to bring them back in with their Instagram handles. And you won't see me. Oh, you will see me. Got it. I thought I was disappearing. But thank you again so much, ladies. Give us some parting words of wisdom from each of you, if you wouldn't mind, before we announce the winner.
Oh man, you guys say, Lizanne, I feel like you're the wisdom girl. I'm still new to this game, so you share first.
All right, I will just say the motto of my blog is that we are all in this together. And so I encourage every military spouse to take that to heart and remember that you are always part and welcome of a bigger community.
I like that a lot.
I'm going to piggyback off of that and say, if you do anything, go and find your Facebook groups for your community, your wives groups. They can be crazy at times, but you will find some good people out there. Stay connected and don't hesitate to reach out for help because it's so important.
For sure.
I think I'm going to back off of what Monica said about Verizon support of military. If you don't already have service with Verizon, to check out their offers, their deals, because I feel like as a community, there's a lot of comfort in knowing that when we support Verizon in a lot of ways, we're supporting our military community as well.
For sure.
Beautifully said, ladies. Thank you so much. So guess who the winner is of our $250 Amazon gift card? Her name is Susan Tevenard. And we will reach out to you on Twitter. Yes, congratulations.
Congrats, Susan.
Enjoy and tell us what you did with your $250 of Amazon, and please stay tuned on this channel for some future conversations to explain. Thank you again, ladies. You have a great rest of the day.
Thanks so much for having us.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.